Hi, my name is Eileen. This is my baby brother Braxton. He has a G-tube. A G-tube is a special tube where he could go into his stomach so he could get lots of energy and he could get healthy and grow big and strong like me.
Braxton was born on June 24th of 2011 with what is currently an undiagnosed syndrome. Braxton was unable to feed when he was born. We tried breastfeeding and we also tried bottle feeding, and he ended up in the NICU because he was coughing and gagging and wasn't able to eat anything, so he had persistent low blood sugars because he wasn't getting any nutrition. While in the NICU, they did a swallow study and found out that Braxton was aspirating all consistencies of liquid, which means that any little bit that he was managing to swallow was going into his lungs instead of his stomach. And of course, this is pretty dangerous because he would be essentially drowning if he continued to try to feed by mouth. It could also lead to pneumonia because of the fluid in the lungs, and potentially could be fatal. So initially, Braxton had a nasogastric tube, which is an NG tube, which is a feeding tube that's inserted through the nose and into the stomach, and that is how he received his nutrition for the first couple of weeks of life. Once he stabilized everything in NICU and was pretty much ready to go home, the doctors determined that the last step was being able to feed on his own. And since he was still unable to do that after multiple attempts with the feeding team, the doctors decided that he would need to have a gastrostomy tube, which is a G-tube, placed so that he would be able to feed from that point forward. So a gastrostomy tube, or G-tube, is a little tube that is inserted into the child's abdomen and it goes directly into the stomach. The tube is held in place by a balloon, so when it's inflated, we put the syringe in the side, and if this were the child's stomach, you would fill the balloon with water and then remove the syringe so that the balloon is holding the button and it will not be removed easily inside the child's stomach. Then you would connect an extension like this. And the extension is the part of the feeding tube that is out of the child so that you could feed him milk or whatever. We've actually started doing a special diet that we're able to feed him through his feeding tube, all medications, water, everything. So after leaving the NICU, we were pretty scared, we were pretty nervous. We had no idea if we would be able to learn everything that we needed to know about the G-tube and being able to feed Braxton and ensure that he received everything that he needed. So being in the digital age, naturally, I sought out resources on the internet. I found the Feeding Tube Awareness Foundation, and they have a ton of resources and videos and links to pretty much anything and everything that you could ever want to or need to know about a G-tube. I learned, I saw instructional videos on how to properly change his G-tube button and how to feed him, how to change the extension or make sure we clean that correctly. And about 3 years ago, the Feeding Tube Awareness Foundation started Feeding Tube Awareness Week, which they have the second week of February. And this year is the first year that I've actually had the opportunity to participate. We weren't really aware of it last year, and we're still pretty new at everything. This year, I felt like it was important for us to share our story and our experience with the feeding tube, just so that people know that feeding tubes aren't just for your end of life. It's not a fashion statement. It's not a fad diet. It's something that 500,000 people in the United States need to survive. The feeding tube can provide all the nutrition that a child needs, and for Braxton, initially it saved his life because him eating any other way just wasn't possible. With the feeding tube, he's growing, he's happy, he's healthy, and I'm really thankful that there are organizations like Feeding Tube Awareness Foundation out there that can provide all of these resources for us. For us to feed Braxton, the first thing that we have to do is connect the extension to him. So, I'm gonna lay you down, buddy. Hey, Dan. And we'll lift his shirt up, and you can see the button on him. We actually also have these G-tube pads to help keep the site from leaking or having anything around it. And the first thing that we do is unsnap this. He hasn't eaten in a while, so nothing's come out. And the first thing is gonna line up the lines on the extension and the button, and then we twist it to make sure that it's locked, and then close him back up until he's done eating. Now, in order for us to feed Braxton, we usually sit him in this chair so that he doesn't take off on us. And then I do draw up some of the formula into the syringe, and we connect the syringe to the extension. You want to help me with this, Simon? Wait, we unclamp this, and then very slowly you push the formula through the tube. And push it just a little bit. There we go. And Braxton gets to sister. We just do this until Braxton is finished eating, and then we give him a little bit of water to flush everything out. Right. Oh. So the really good thing about having the G-tube is that Braxton can get his nutrition wherever and no matter what, basically. We slowly push the food through the syringe. So Braxton, we have sometimes had to chase him around the room while he's playing. Or if he's sleeping, we don't have to wake him up to eat. He can still receive his food even while he's laying down. Or even if he's sick, initially he was sick a lot, but despite that, he was able to feed without any issues, so he continued to gain weight, he continued to grow and thrive. You know, and most kids, when they're not feeling well, they'll just stop eating. So with the G-tube, it's really good that Braxton can eat no matter what. And we just feed him in small increments. We'll wait a couple of minutes in between each feed just so that we make sure he doesn't.
And that's how we feed Braxton. Thanks for watching our video.